notice how in chapter 15, Jesus was over it? I mean, he was over the Pharisees. Rightfully so. Because you mean to tell me in chapter 14, I done fed 5,000 people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. I done got my mans and them walking on water. I'm out here healing people left and right. You see people talking that wasn't talking yesterday. I'm out here working and you coming to me on some shenanigans. Please stop for a second and read chapter 15 for yourself so you can get what God is trying to tell you in chapter 15. But let me tell you what I got in my Bible study. Because baby. So honestly, the sermon from Church 2819 helped me so much to kind of understand the backstory about all this. But let's get into it. So chapter 15 starts off where you have the Pharisees and the scribes or teachers of that time coming to Jesus asking him why his disciples don't wash their hands before they eat. I mean, like, I don't know. What do you expect me to bring the soap too? I already bought the fish and the loaves. What do you want? So anywho, apparently there was a commandment for priests to make sure that they ceremonially washed their hands before eating or entering into a tabernacle. The Pharisees decided to make this a law for everybody, basically taking God's word and turning it around to something else. So when the Pharisees seen Jesus' disciples eating without washing their hands, they were in a conniption, ticked off, wondering how is this man the Messiah and his people can't even follow simple instructions. When I tell you Jesus let them have it in chapter 15, baby, he looked at the people and was like, first of all, Jesus came with exhibit A and exhibit B. I mean, for real, go back and read chapter 15, verse 3. Jesus brings up the fact that one of the commandments that God told them was to honor your mother and your father. And he said the Pharisees, y'all not even doing that right. Y'all done twisted that word around. So honestly, Church 2819 helped me understand this so much because you have the original law that was given by God that said, honor your mother and your father. And if somebody cusses out their mama or their daddy, or curses their mama or their daddy, put them to death. Well, the Pharisees turned that one around. They made a loophole to God's word so that it was more convenient, worked more in their favor. So what they decided to do was they decided to say, okay, guys, the new law is going to be if your mother and your father need you, you can donate what you have to the church. And because you donate it to the church, you won't have to give it into your mama and daddy. Okay? Now they done took God's word and twisted it and made it work for them. Messy. And Jesus let him have it. He said, you hypocrites, because this was God's word and you turned it around. That's not what my man's upstairs said. If you look at verse 8, he said, people draw near to me with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Pulling that with verse 11, not what goes into the mouth defiles a man, but what comes out of the mouth defiles a man. Basically, he's saying, y'all saying y'all doing all these things because you're saying that you're honoring God, but in reality, y'all hearts are not in it for the right reason. Y'all are focused on tradition and not relationship. You say you're listening to what God is telling you to do, but you are actively turning it around to where it benefits you, twisting his words to benefit you, to focus on a law or a rule that God never said was a thing. And I'm not going to sit up here and act like I haven't been a hypocrite myself, because there were plenty of times that I was. Plenty. If we're being honest with ourselves, I think we can all name something, because we're not perfect. God told you to go left and he was like, well, God, what if I just walk right? What happens if I walk right? I'm going to walk right and I'm going to let you know how it goes. Looking at my women's study Bible, it gives this amazing clip note. It says the Pharisees' chief concern was to keep their own traditions, while Jesus' concern was to do God's will. Have you ever been so focused on tradition and what you used to do and how you used to be that God's will was far from your heart? You say you love God to everybody. You got Bible verses on your page, but in your heart and your actions, you're doing something different. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I haven't been in the same shoes, because I have, and actively working on my prayer life and my reading God's word so I can stand on what he's calling me to do is definitely helping. Verse 11 again says, it's not what goes into the mouth that defiles a man. Basically, he's saying it's not about eating with unclean hands. It's about what comes out of your mouth. And we understand that out of the heart, the mouth speaks. This is a good opportunity for myself, you included, to check our heart. What are you doing it for? Then I appreciated the story in Matthew chapter 15, verses 21 through 28, where we're talking about the Gentile woman who came to Jesus. This is a mother. So speaking in context, we have the Gentile woman who was known. Gentiles and Jews didn't get along. It was kind of like oil and water. Gentiles amongst the Jews were considered dogs. Jesus talks about in this verse how his ministry was to save the people of Israel first, the Jews. That was his ministry, was to save them first. But this is a foreshadowing of what it looks like later on in the Bible, where Jesus's relationship is available to all people, not just the Jews, not just the Israelites. This is a moment where we see the compassion of Jesus Christ outside of his own nationality. And let's not forget in chapter 13, verse 58, how his own people was treating him. Check that out, chapter 13, verse 58. So anywho, in this verse, you have the Gentile woman whose daughter is possessed with demons. Her daughter's not even present. So she sees Jesus and he's in her area. Jesus is with his disciples and she's yelling out to them, Jesus, help me. Jesus, save my daughter. Jesus, take care of my daughter. Jesus, help me. Now we see first that Jesus didn't even answer her with words. And to be honest, I was looking at that like, Jesus, what are you doing? But then I had to think about it. Because in my own struggles, when I'm calling out to Jesus, there are times where he doesn't speak right away to me either. But let's keep going. She has persistence. She keeps reaching out to Jesus. She keeps following him, coming to him, asking for help. The disciples at this point start to get annoyed. The disciples tell Jesus he should send her away. But good sis has good faith. She acknowledges who Jesus is, Son of David. We already talked about the importance of that. She acknowledges his authority, asks him for help, seeks him with persistence. Now, the way Jesus responds to her, honestly, you have to understand the context of that time, which I'm still trying to figure out. Again, I'm just a girl trying to learn her word. She came to Jesus with unwavering faith, confidence in her situation, confidence in him that he could help her. And even while her daughter wasn't present, because of that mother's faith, her child was healed. What does that tell you? The mother going to Jesus on behalf of her daughter who wasn't even present got her daughter healed. As a mama, baby, that's top tier. She was persistent. She stood on her faith. She kept seeking God. Despite the challenges, I mean, think about it. This is a Gentile woman approaching Jesus. Gentiles and Jews don't mix. A woman coming up to Jesus is strange. Remember, women didn't really have much authority back then, but her confidence and her faith healed her daughter even in her daughter's absence. Come on, praying mamas. And this one hit me especially too because my daughter just got baptized today. I'm ecstatic and I'm grateful. I'm thankful for her to make the decision on her own to follow God. It's beautiful. Chapter 15 ends where Jesus is doing another feast. Jesus is catering another fish and bread dinner. He passing out number 8s left and right, and they still got leftovers. Don't we love to go to a feast and bring home leftovers? What a beautiful story. Let me know what you got from chapter 15, and I will see you tomorrow in the next video. Y'all have a good day. Bye.